Welcome to Behind the Doors, the podcast where we take you behind the scenes of residential real estate investing. I'm your host, Dan Noma Jr., here with my co-host, Marvin Crues.
We're here to help you unlock the best strategies and practice for investors. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro looking to scale your portfolio.
We've spent decades navigating the ever-changing world of real estate, and now we're sharing everything we've learned to help you succeed.
From off-market deals to cash flow management and everything in between, we'll break it down and bring you actionable insights that can make a real difference in your investments.
So get ready to open the door to new opportunities and take your real estate investing to the next level. Let's dive in.
All right, Dan, let's talk a little bit about listing presentations, right?
Yeah.
We always, when we think about realtors, and I'll just come from a view of, I want to sell my home, and I sit down with my realtor. The main thing I want is the home sold.
Yeah. Have you ever heard anybody say they wanted to list their home?
No, I never want to list my home.
Right. Yeah.
I want to get the hell up out of here.
They want to sell their house.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Right.
So if I want to sell my home, and I want you to do it as my listing agent,
Yep.
what should that presentation look like? What should that conversation feel and sound like when you're sitting down with me?
Yeah, I think there's, there's a lot of different schools of thought with this, right? And some of it boils down to price point. Some of it boils down to the style of the home, right? Like I wouldn't give the same listing presentation if I was selling a $5 million home to, kind of a median priced home.
Okay.
Those are kind of two different things, right? But the bulk of the population, let's say that's all in the median, the normal listing, everyday home, someone's house, right? Middle of the road, middle class properties. When I think about those, that's that process can be really super powerful for a real estate agent. Back in the day, prior to cash offer and all those things that could be possible. It was a moment to show up. Like I remember today still my dad's real estate agent when I was like a kid, right? And she drove a Lincoln Town Car. She worked for Century 21.
Yeah.
She smelled like bug spray. But when she came around, I knew she was selling the house. Like she was good. She was really good at it. But she had a presentation, right? And this presentation was all the glamorous things that she was going to do, right? She was going to hire someone to come take professional photos.
Got it.
She was going to, do a sign in the yard, and it was going to be this specific sign that, generated a bunch of activity.
Yeah.
She was going to list the property in the local MLS service, and then, put the property on the local home tour with all the brokers and do a broker open house, and then a general open house to the public. Mm-hmm. And, she had a plan. She was like, if it doesn't sell like this, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And it was like, she had this plan of what she was going to do. And then it became personal. Then she would tell a story of her. Like, if you're going to work with me, you should know me too, right? And here's the things that I do. And here's a picture of my dog. And here's the picture of my kids and all of those things. And I think a lot of agents still do something like that. But what consumers still want to see that stuff, what else do you do? Like, do
want the home sold.
Yeah. Right. What else do you do as a consumer where, you imagine walking to a car dealership and the guy shows you all of the pictures of your dog and the photos of the car, how he's going to do all that. Can you imagine that was the case?
Dude, I came to see the car.
So it's unique to real estate, right? It's it's just a unique niche thing that there's a presentation, associated to the sale.
Yeah.
So, I think that the presentation has evolved, right? And consumers, to your point, they want to sell, they don't want to list. They're contacting you because they want to sell their home.
Right.
So give them what they want. Show them that you can sell their property, right? So the best way that I found to do that, and, measured it through transactions, right? So I'm not just blowing smoke. We actually measured it through going on appointments, trying different things, turning one knob at a time, measuring it, coming back. I love to geek out on data and information. And so this was what we did. And, we would go out with the consumer. The first thing I would do is they would call or, get a referral, whatever. I would get a general assessment of why why do they need to sell? What's going on? The next thing I would do is get property condition information, right? Whether I go visit the property and I take the photos, or I get those photos sent to me from the seller, or they break down the condition of the property to me verbally, and then I can articulate that, in another way. That condition of the property is like so critical, right? So now I kind of know the condition of the asset and the consumer's situation and their motivation, right? If I have those two things, now I can like put a strategy together and I can actually move this thing. And it used to be that you would just show up with a go-to-market strategy, right? I would show up and this is what the property's worth in the retail market. This is how long I think it's going to take to sell. This is how many tours I think it's going to take in order for us to find the right buyer. This is how many open houses it's going to take in order to do that. Like that, all that's available to agents. I think where it gets really cool though, is if you gather that information, do that assessment, do that same assessment, because that's like the baseline. We got to do that. But also then go get cash offers, right? Go get other options for the consumer based on whatever their motivation is, right? So if their motivation is to sell fast, I'm going to show them convenience and what convenience costs, right? I'm going to show them the cash offers. Or like if I live in an environment where there is a lot of cash offer messaging, I'm going to bring the cash offers to the appointment because I don't want them to choose someone else or another option. I'm going to show them all available options, right? So I think a listing agent's job is to do two things at a listing presentation. I had this conversation with Tom Ferry the other day. As I said to him, a listing agent should just do two things. If they do these two things at every listing presentation, they're going to get every listing every time. They're going to transact with the consumer. Right. They got to eliminate consumer doubt, right? And that means that you've got to bring all available options to the consumer, and you've got to build credibility with your customer. And the way that you build that credibility is through transparency, right? This is a cash offer. I make less money selling it to you this way. Potentially, right? Like if I use one of these iBuyers or whatever, they only pay a certain percentage to do that.
Right.
But you got to bring that option to your seller, because even though it's not in your best interest as the consumer or as the agent, that like stuff like that is what makes you human and makes consumers go, he's being transparent. Like he's showing me options that are not in his best interest. And that gives me comfort, right? And consumers are attracted to that. They love when people are transparent, right? Absolutely. And so if you can eliminate consumer doubt and build credibility by just simply leveraging transparency, which is like never been easier than it is today as a real estate agent, we can almost win back consumers. Like the real estate agents don't have the best reputations out there, right? Like you ever go to a holiday party and like tell somebody you're a real estate agent?
No, so that's pretty funny. But no, on a serious note, right? You talk about removing doubt.
Yeah.
You talk about being transparent. Yeah. But you also talk to just being honest about what's really happening here. Yeah. That's so huge, because if you think about it, everybody knows a realtor. We only pass on people that do right by us, right? I would never refer my realtor to you if I didn't think that person came with all those information. Plus, your consumers are smart. Yeah. They watch TV every morning. And by the way, I'm having my cup of coffee, and guess what pops up? I'll buy your home cash. Right. So if you're a realtor or a listing agent, you should come to the table with, here's what MLS could look like. Here's the potential. Here's what iBuyer options are. And by the way, because I'm great and I partner with Easy Street Offers, here's what all the cash offers look like. So come to the table, let them make the decision, right? Regardless of what gets in your pocket, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like the number one real estate agent in the country is one of our clients, right? And he has studied this in detail, and I've talked to him about it, right? And he knows for sure that the more options he brings to the table at the initial listing presentation, the higher his rate of conversion is. And it doesn't mean that they all are going to cash offer. It doesn't mean that. That's not it. It just means that because he gained the customer's credibility and that they gained a mutual respect for one another, that he was able to transact with them no matter which option that they chose.
There it is.
Right? He just wants to transact on every lead that comes in. That's how he thinks about it, right? So he doesn't let the dollar drive what the consumer should choose.
Right.
What he says is, I just want to transact on every single appointment. If I do that and I look at it back over the course of a year, my customer acquisition cost is less than anybody else because I'm transacting more times. I'm just doing it more often. I'm getting paid something on every single transaction, right? Or some appointment. And I think that like a lot of agents lose sight of like CAC, customer acquisition costs. And if you aren't like dead focused on customer acquisition cost as an agent, team leader, broker owner, whatever you are as an agent, that is so critical, right? I mean, leads are expensive, and you got to figure out a way to monetize on every time an agent goes to an appointment. How do I monetize on this? And the only way you can do that is by bringing all available options.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So if you're listening, you're a real estate agent. Are you bringing all options to the table? Are you sitting down with your client, being very transparent and very thorough and letting them make the decision? How are you helping, right? Think about that. Last thing, what Easy Street offers, this presentation is branded totally to them too, right? Like they sit down with the client, it's going to look and feel like it's their own. It's not Easy Street offers, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think it's huge that agents have their own version of a cash offer program, right? It can't be someone else's cash offer. It can't be a cash offer that a consumer can go get on their own, right? If you're working with a cash offer company that is competing with you, they're going after your customer with a message of the same thing, right? They're saying, I'll give you an offer on your home. What makes you unique when you bring that offer to the table? It almost dilutes your value, right? Exactly. You almost feel a little bit diluted as a consumer because you're like, well, Marvin, I can go get that on my own. Why did you need to bring me that? Like, I'm not paying you to get something I can get on my own. I can go get that on my own. I don't need you for that, and that's how kind of people feel about them. So it's important that agents have their own version of that, right? An exclusive place to go get their own cash offers that is like totally branded for them. And it's their own niche thing, right? Imagine like, just put yourself in the consumer's shoes. You're sitting there at the kitchen table. You've got one agent that shows up and they've got, pictures of their dogs, cats, families, all the vacations they went on, drone photos, all the things that they're going to do to sell a home, which is great. And then the next agent shows up in a competitive listing presentation and they've got offers on the property, right? They've got all these different available options. They're
sold already, basically.
I mean, now you're having a conversation about offers at the first appointment.
Right.
I don't even have to, like, can I sell your house? Yes, I can. I'm bringing offers to the presentation, right? Like that adds so much value to the conversation and changes the dynamic of the entire presentation. Like you don't have to sell your house. Like someone on your team right now, Taylor, she was my nanny 6 months prior to being the most highest producing real estate agent on my team. She will admit at the time she knew diddly about real estate. What she knew was if she brought all these available options, that she would get the consumer to pick one of them, right? That she had enough ammo at the table. So it wasn't about her. It didn't matter that she had never sold a home before, right? What mattered is that she could build credibility by bringing these options to the consumer. And now they were having a totally different conversation. It wasn't about her. It was about, what's the action? Are we going to sell this property? For how much? What are the terms? That's what we were having conversations about at the first appointment, which is unique, and I think that's where the future of real estate's got to go. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Doors. We hope you found today's insights valuable for your real estate investing journey.
Remember, real estate success doesn't happen overnight, but with the right tools and strategies, you can build long-term wealth and create passive income.
If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with others who are passionate about real estate investing.
Don't forget to follow us on social media for more tips and exclusive content.
Until next time, keep unlocking new opportunities, and we'll see you on the next episode of Behind the Doors.